Welcome back, Video Creeps. Fucking wild. This is nuts. Like, I've waited a whole year, just like you and me. We're the same, you and I. Like, you know, we're not so different. You and I. Chucky has finally dropped its second season, which, like, I have just been so stoked, so ready. I can't believe that there's all these new characters that I get to, like, be in love with and fuck with and shit. Like, this is just, who's better than me right now? Who's having a better night than this guy right here? Like me, this guy. I guess you, because if you've watched it, you and I, again, we're not so, see, I told you we're not so different. But this episode, it starts off strong. It starts off really good. We learn why dolls are fucked up. And now it's my job to go over this thing with you. Like, we're gonna have a great time with this. We're gonna break down this first episode and see what's going on with Chucky Season 2, Episode 1. First and foremost, I love me some Andy. I love Andy. I really do. There's just something about that boy. Like, I've been fucking, maybe it's because I've seen him since he was a little kid. There's just something about that guy. Like, I love him on screen. I love everything about it. So when we open up this episode, and the very first thing that I see is Andy, your boy's gonna get tired. Like, I'm hyped. I'm fucking excited. I can't wait. And I just generally like that, like, in most shows. Like, it really feels like, you know, it feels really nice that we're beyond the point of, like, how will Chucky translate to a TV show? And I think with the ending of the last season, and then how we started this new season, it is very much a TV show. What a TV show way to end. What a TV show way to pick up again. And not only just seeing Andy and picking up with that situation, but then, like, the humor that we got from the multiple Chuckies, again, that just, like, touched on what we just left off with and shit. Even though for the majority of the episode, there isn't this, like, multiple Chucky thing that we know is going on for the majority of season 1, but we still got to touch on that. We got to get put right back into where we were. And with that whole thing, there's also the fact that, like, you know, we see Andy, like, get attacked by all of these characters, and just a beautiful Tiffany. I love the look of that. It was short-lived, fucking short-lived the shit. We didn't hang out with that version of Tiffany very much at all. But there are Tiffany's, and, like, there's going to be more stuff later that we could talk about with that Tiffany. But for now, let's just focus on what's going on in this truck with these multiple Chuckies and then them going on the attack. I thought it was really interesting that there's these Chuckies that don't remember Andy until they do. I really think that's an interesting thing that we get to explore, and I want to explore more. Give me that shit. And then the way that we got to be brought back into this with this, like, hyper cinematic feel. The music feels very much like a movie. Like, to all the naysayers out there that are just like, when are we getting another Chucky film? Like, fucking just get with it, man. We're living in it. These are the times, bitch. But the atmosphere felt really good. It felt really well done. It felt like I was in the middle of a fucking action film. So to start the episode there, it got my blood going. I was fucking pumped the whole time. Wanted to see what was going to happen. So, of course, then we see Andy, and he's, like, driving off of a fucking cliff, which he's not dead. He's not dead. Really? Really? Who are these people? Who are these people who think that we would lose Andy if it was a fucking, like, you grow up. Grow up. It's time. All right? Fucking it's time. He probably, like, did a barrel roll. We're probably going to revisit him in a later episode and shit. And, like, you know, we'll see Kyle again because she's not dead either. But fuck! I really dug that. I felt that. I was fucking charged up, ready. From there, we get to also pick right up with where Jake and Devin were. And Devin is just wearing just the most hideous of, like, what is that fucking Neapolitan bullshit? Can someone fucking dress this guy good? Like, fucking, are the kids dressing themselves? Is that just what Devin's bringing to the table? Because if so, like, hey man, you look great. There's something about Devin, like, I don't know what it is. Like, he's my least favorite character of that, like, trio. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he reminds me of, like, Franklin the Turtle. I didn't like those books. I didn't like that show. I didn't like it. But you know who I do like? I like Jake. Jake is fucking baller. I love that kid. I'm ready for more Jake, and I'm ready for him to, like, honestly, just to be with someone else. Because I don't feel it. I don't feel their relationship. I don't feel their love. I will say, in this episode there, when they couldn't kiss though, like fucking when they just had to be like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And then they just did like a little handshake thing. That's the most intimacy like fucking that I've ever felt from those two characters. Like there was a lot of sexually charged energy transmitted from the fingertips right there. I felt it. I seen it. The only thing that like ruined that for me was like the fucking like the CW-esque fucking like music that was happening in the background there. I don't know if that's like a staple in like the Chucky TV show, because like I remember in that first episode there also was music that I was like, hey, is the score gonna be a problem here? What is this? Just like this lukewarm, just like fucking like poppy. I don't. It doesn't hit my ears right. I don't know. Maybe it hit your ears right. Fucking you let me know. Maybe I'm just fucking. Maybe I'm tone deaf. Who knows? Literally, not socially. But again, making really interesting choices like cinematically. Fucking, we go from that like hyper pop fucking CW sexually charged handshake moment. This like fucking like do fucking like Dawson's Creek-esque shit to this like fucking bleak like 6 months later black, just fucking like the sound of a gong, and immediately I'm taken out of that feeling. It like forgives the cheesiness of that moment, so that way we could fucking lend into this next moment where we could tell that 6 months later things have changed. This group of friends that we saw get so tight in the first season, now they are fractured to a certain degree. It's been 6 months since Devin Evan, ill, by the way. Devin Evan? Really? I know there's an S in there, Devin Evans, but that S isn't tricking anyone, all right? It's not a secret. That's a fucking bad name, Devin Evan. I hate you, Devin Evan. I'm going a little hard on Devin Evan. Like, I should say I hate that character. Like, I don't hate that actor. Like, clearly that's the right guy for the role, because like fucking he's in the role, but he's in a different place. Like, now he's fucking living in his situation. We don't know his housing situation. We don't know who adopted him. We know that his mother was dead, unless there's just like this unspoken father thing that's taking care of Devin or something like that. We know that Jake has been adopted by another foster, or he's somewhere like where he's, you know, being fed and shit. But for whatever reason, these two have not fucking reached out to each other. We get a look at Jake's life in this foster home as well, where he's taken on like almost like this father figure like fucking role to this like child who also is in like the foster care system. And we pick up, it's like Halloween, he's Batman, the little boy's Robin. It's a very adorable situation. Though like that little kid, he really runs with the Batman, like the holy, oh my god, it's season 1 of episode whatever the fuck, like just fucking a lot of middle fingers to that kid. I'm sorry, it's the truth. But it's Halloween, and like at some point we get like a red herring with like this little child girl thing, and they're dressed like a fucking clown and shit, which like fucking horrifying. Like, someone give that kid its own franchise. Like, that was damn good makeup. Who did that? So Devin is with like, you know, maybe father. We still don't know that situation. And Jake is with this foster family, and they start texting back and forth. And there's like this, like, hey, what about Lexi? What happened to her? Like, wasn't she was our friend? No. And we pick up with Lexi, and she's like immediately on the path to just getting dick down. Which, like, to me is fucking nutty as shit. Like, bitch, didn't your guy, he just died. He just died in the last fucking season. Fucking Chucky stabbed him in front of you, no less. Like, are you that lonely, or did you just not care that much? Maybe that's why he went to the dark side in the last fucking season. We saw that he was starting to get pushed out and shit. Like, maybe you have more to do with that than you fucking want to shoulder and shit. But we do see that she does have like some kind of like addiction to some kind of pill and shit. I'm sorry, I didn't go back, I didn't look, but I will show you what it was right here. She's snorting that shit like a fucking elephant around water. She's just doing the blow, fucking trying to do blows, jobs, doing blow jobs. That's where that was going. I'm sorry, that's true. I don't know, after seeing like Lexi's behavior, I'm like just like a tinge, like just a little bit on Junior's side. Like fucking, oh, keep your head up, Kings. Like, you know, bitches be creeping. We then get this shot of Lexi and her mother and her sister, and they're all being like interviewed by like fucking just some Tom, Dick, and asshole. Some in the trailer looking like he was like, you know, interviewing Jake and Devin, but actually he's interviewing fucking these other bitches and shit. And we learned that everything was actually pinned on Junior. And I can't help but feel like that doesn't make the most sense to me in the world. Like fucking, you know, we saw people getting stabbed from under chairs and shit. Like fucking, Was there not a forensic team that was kind of like, well, how did this kid do this? And someone else was like, I don't know, he was on his haunches. He was just fucking belly crawling around, just getting it done. And like, stealthy. I'm glad he's dead now. Like, this kid could have been a problem. That doesn't make fucking sense to me. Like, how could fucking Junior have done all of that damage? It just doesn't read right to me. Especially with the fact that, like, we know in this world already that there's multiple accounts of, like, weirdness around good guy dolls. Like, it's not a secret anymore. We saw in the last fucking season that there was a bunch of Chucky dolls that were going to be given away. Or, I'm sorry, good guy dolls, right? They could have a plethora of names. But we knew that they were in the area. And, like, why wouldn't you just, like, double down on what's already... Where are the fucking conspiracy theorists? Where are they? They're missing a big blind spot. Because there's, I don't know, they're still on Pizzagate or something. There's a lot in this episode of, like, where the characters ended up, like, after the first season, which is a great way to fucking enter this next season. That is what I want. One of those things is seeing how Caroline dealt with the events and the trauma of what she dealt with Chucky and her relationship with Chucky. We see her dealing with a therapist. And in that, like, classic therapist, like, people trying to help way in the Child's Play universe, she goes behind a desk and, like, obviously, as a fan, you're gonna be like, oh, she's going to whip out a Chucky doll. But instead, she whips out, like, a fucking Tiffany doll. And that was amazing. I love that. I thought that was such a clever way to bring the Tiffany doll into the fold. Especially because, like, there's been, like, images of Caroline hanging out with this Tiffany doll. So to see that that's the way that it was brought in, and to see that it was, like, reminiscent of how we've gotten Chucky introduced in the past, I thought that was a really, really cool idea. And it's not just Caroline and how she was affected by things. Our core group was affected as well. There's been quite a bit of distance in these 6 months between Devin and Jake. Lexi is clearly on her own, doing her own thing. Like, they're fractured in this really interesting way due to the events of what were foisted onto them from the last season. I thought that was really great. I love that. I love that for character development. Now, throughout the episode, we see that these three are hot on the trail of what Chucky has cooking up, because he is blatantly fucking with them the whole time. He's, like, calling them on the phone. He's, like, FaceTiming, like, hey, fucking back. And we do get to see him come back in a major way in this episode. So much so that he, like, infiltrates, like, he like masterminds a way to get all three of the characters together in the same spot again, because again, they've been fractured this whole time. And the big plan is to, like, fucking just, like, explode pieces of that. Like, he wants to kill them all, and he wants to kill them all in one sweep. Chucky is, like, pissed. Like, where the last season he was like, I need a child to help murder for me so that way I can do this thing. In this one, it seems like he's just like, I'm going after everybody. Fuck it. Like, fucking everybody ruined my dope plan. Like, fucking Andy's dead. I'm gonna kill fucking you guys, and then I'm gonna kill Tiffany. Which, I love it. I love when, it's so weird. I have, like, this odd relationship with how I view Chucky and Tiffany. Because on one end, I love seeing them together. I love their dynamic together. But on the other end, like, I kind of love watching them kill each other. I really fucking do. And with, like, what we know of Tiffany being kind of, like, fed up with Chucky, and she's just immersed in Nico world, and then we know that Glenn and Glenda are going to be coming in soon. It's cool to see on the reverse that Chucky's like, fucking no. I'm killing Tiffany. That's going to be the end of that. And I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. And in that anger, while trying to blow up the three of these guys, he fails because, like, remember Robin, like, little fucking bat boy, like that little fucking, that kid, he fucking comes in. He was super annoying. And, like, in a moment of, like, the kids trying to figure out what they're gonna do, Devin gets up, he fucking tasers Chucky in the eye, by the way. Lame. Super fucking lame. Not like that he did that. Like, I'm really coming after Devin this episode. Fucking, you know, that's not me. That's you. But Chucky is able to drop this bomb. And then little Robin, he grabs the bomb and he, like, goes away. And then incidentally, the bomb goes off. Well, because Chucky, like, jumps on his back and shit, causes the kid to fucking blow up. But, like, Devin, Jake, and Lexi, they, like, survive. They're like good money and shit. Somehow only, like, the little kid died. And of course, like, the adults, like the people who are in charge of, like, them, they're, like, putting pieces of glue together. They're like, hey, you know, every time, they're, like, putting things together. Yet no one wants to be like, you know, every time that you guys are around, murder happens. What's with that? but it gets ruled like an accidental thing. Like, it doesn't seem like it's gonna really like deeply affect them, but this is what leads them to get thrown to this like fucking boarding school, this like very religious looking boarding school. But it's not just like any old like give a shit fucking like little Catholic school, boarding school, whatever the fuck. It's that same wayward home for fucking boys that fucking Charles Lee Ray went to. Like, ooh, Way, okay, let's say the right things, Michael. Charles Lee Ray, boom. It's like I've never said that before in my life, and believe me, I have. But they're going to the same place where he grew up. That's going to be really interesting. I wonder what the dialogue is going to be for Chucky going back to this place that was already established in the last season. I did not see that coming. There was an audible gasp that came out of my mouth because that's exciting. I love that. I love anything like that. Like an Ash versus Evil Dead, spoilers, sorry. If you didn't watch it, you're the reason why it's not on TV anymore. And I kind of don't like you about that. Sorry, I still like you. It's just, I'm fucking sensitive. I have spots and shit, and that's one of them. But you see Ash go back to that cabin, and I love that. That's my favorite shit. So to see that, like, Charles Lee Ray and Chucky, or now that he's Chucky, I mean, he never stopped being Charles Lee Ray. Now look at me, I can't stop saying it. To see that he is now going back to that place, and like now we have the kids in this concentrated area. Oh, I cannot wait. I can't wait for the next episode. I thought this was a really solid return to this universe. It felt like it tied up a lot of the things that we didn't know, or like we were getting ready to figure out again. Like I couldn't be happier with this episode, and I can't wait for next week to see the next episode. If there were things that I want more of, I really need that relationship between Jake and Devin to start developing in a way that's going to make me care. And especially because like we've already kind of touched on the adversaries towards like their relationship, like we saw with Jake's foster family. They were not supportive of the relationship between Jake and Devin. I really need to start caring about that relationship, so that way when we see that start to get doubled down in this religious setting, I can really give a fuck. I need more than just charged up handshakes, guys. You gotta start bringing that heat. I need that passion. Another thing that I really want to see just interpersonally between these three characters is I want to see Devin and Jake and how they handle Lexi's newfound drug obsession. Like that's where she is. It's changing her personality. I really want to see where that's going to come in. Are we going to see Lexi like fucking fiending for it now that she's not in a place that it's easily accessible to her? Where is that going to go? I'm excited for Tiffany. I'm excited for Glenn and Glenda and to see how that goes. We didn't see Nika once this episode. You know I got to get me some Nika going. And of course, I want to know what's going on with Chucky. I want to know what his next big plan is. Like I hope with everything that they've established and all of these loose ends that they have to touch on now, that we don't lose a ton of Chucky in this upcoming season. I don't think that we will, but you got to put it out there into the universe to make sure it don't happen and shit. Like I'm watching you, I see you. Don't you do it. But did you guys enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed this episode? What are you looking forward to in this upcoming season? Let me know in the comments below. And if you dug this video, if you had yourself a fucking neat little time, go ahead and like this video and hit the notification bell so that way you can hang out with me as we go over every single one of these episodes going forward. As always, there's a bunch of links down below where you can click them and it'll take you to other places that are also associated with me. Like that figures where I play with a bunch of toys with my best buddy Brad. My Patreon where you can support the fact that I do this shit. Like that you could come on in and just help this guy in a monetary way. If you want to do it for free, like the video. Like I said, watch more of my videos. Share my, just fucking put me out there. In fact, one of those links you could buy a shirt, like fucking buy a shirt, get it done. Oh, my camera died. But you know what? You can't see me, but you can feel me. You can feel me. I feel you. I was going to end this thing anyway. That's going to be it for this video. Peace, video creeps.